Hello, this is iPav here. I'm here to talk about the Teemo's build. I currently hit the master in North America server, and I feel like it's a good time to go over this. First, let's talk about the runes. I take a 6 different runes depending on matches. Press attack, playful walk, electrocute, summon area, phase rush, grass of undying. I already made a Teemo book for you guys to see each of the matches, what runes that I take, items. I'm trying to put the gameplay right now, about 10 minutes per one match. Yep. And the difficulties. It's still getting updated for those of you guys who may still have a question about it. And yeah, that's all it is. And I'll just explain why I take those runes depending on each of the matches. First, let's go with a playful walk, since we already have this. So playful walk is rarely I take it. Probably like 1 out of 20 games. It's a versus a mage range champion, for example, Heimerdinger, Anivia, Oriana, Syndra. Not all the time that I take this rune versus them. So this is like a case that my jungler will never come to top. I know that for sure because he's like some kind of Emumu or Shivena type of jungle that they're just gonna farm and they are gonna play around the bot side. So I gotta be just locked in the prison on the top lane and gotta suffer these Heimerdinger, Anivia, Oriana, Syndra match. Very difficult match for Teemo to just handle it alone. Therefore, it becomes a farm only lane. I take a Liandry Anguish as the only mythic item with this rune setup. So I'm going for late game pretty much. Ultimate Hunter and then ability Haste will give me a cooldown reduction for my ultimate. And I'm having a sustain for with the Fleetfoot Walk and Taste of Blood only. More mana is given because I will get to place a lot of traps in the late game. And that's what it is. I'm not really a fan of this build because most of the games ends within about 24 minutes. So this rune really doesn't shine that much. If possible, I'd rather still take a summon area against these guys and try play a little bit more aggressive. But for now, this is probably the only choice if I don't have a jungler that's gonna help me out at all in the entire game. Yep. And the next one is a Pressy attack, and that one looks like this. I take this rune versus a heavy 1v1 champion like Araria, Kled, Mordekaiser. These type of champions tends to jump onto Teemo even if they are like 40% health and Teemo is 100% health, they would still jump onto Teemo because they think they can win and they can honestly win too. So Teemo has to counter that with the all-in rune also, which is a press attack. It's the best rune for all-in, and I go with the presence of mind with going a Rift Maker. Therefore, I get to cover the mana with the presence of mind. If you want to grab Luden's Tempest or Liandry Anguish, which provides a 600 mana pack, then you can probably go with the Triumph too. Triumph is probably a better choice in that case, that you don't have to worry about the mana since you get a mana from the mythic item. Cut down is recommended versus a Clad. The other matches would be Coup de Grace. Because a cut down gives more damage against a champion that has more health, and Clad gets a lot of health with these mount. That's the press attack and Fleetfoot Walk usage. Next one is Electrocute. Electrocute is good if you can land auto Q auto to the champion. Examples like Riven, Renekton, Jax, Shan, Rumble. There's more matches like that. Most of the matches you cannot land that last auto attack. Therefore, I would not recommend it. And it's not only that, actually you can land auto Q auto to the Araria, Kled, Mordekaiser too. But the thing about these matches is that when the all-in comes in, you cannot avoid them. And you just have to end up fighting these guys. Therefore, you have to go for all-in. All-in wise, press attack does more damage. But as a poke wise, Electrocute does more damage with auto Q auto. And then so auto Q auto and back off. Auto Q and auto back off. And these Riven, Renekton, Jax, Shan, Rumble, these champions, you are able to back off no matter what kind of skills that they use. Yeah, comparison to Araria, Kled, Mordekaiser. So that's why we take an Electrocute. And Bone Plating helps me versus Riven, Renekton, Jax, Shan, their initial burst damage. And Rumble match, I go with the second win because he has more continuous poke damages. That's the Electrocute. Summon Airy. Summon Airy is a match that you cannot go with the Electrocute, of course, because you cannot land the auto Q auto, the last auto. So you can only land the auto Q or just Q poke. Therefore, we get a Summon Airy, Nimbus Clock, movement speed through Ignite or Flash. Absolute Focus for more damage with the poke. Scorch, more damage with the Q poke. And the others are pretty much the same. So Cannon match, Kaylee match, Woggle that I go with this rune. So since the Q poke or auto pokes are dealing a lot of damage, Cannon and Kaylee are generally very squishy champions that you can poke a lot and deny them. Wukong, same thing. The reason why Wukong is not in Electrocute or passive type match is because Wukong, you cannot continuously auto attack because he tends to knock you up twice and goes invisible. So there's not many. He's kind of like Akali somewhat. You cannot land that many auto attack. So you want to poke as much as possible in the early game. Deny him as much as possible. And win the trades with the Summonary. And not only that, the Electrocute just cannot pop because he has a longer distance to get the last hit on the minion compared to the other melee champions by using his Q range. And he would get a decoy to immune the last Q, last auto attack. Alright, so next one is a Phase Rush. This is what it is looking like. Facing a Singed, Nasus, Tryndamere, Fiora, Darius, Cho'Gath, Aatrox. These champions tends to slow down the Teemo and just goes all in with using their Ghost and stuff. You want to kite them as much as possible with more move speed and remove their slow by using a Phase Rush. I go with the Water Walking if my mid laner is like a Galio type that can set up for my roaming from top to the mid. But if I have a Talon or Zed, those type of like non-setup champion in the mid lane, then I'd rather go with the Gathering Storm for late game damage. So Water Walking is only good if I can roam and make something happen. If not, Gathering Storm. Depending on what kind of team comp that I have, I take either one. And so yeah, that's what the Phase Rush is like. Grass Undying. Grass Undying. I currently take mainly versus the two matches. Gangplank and Malphite. Grass Undying is also auto Q, which is the same with the Summon Airy. But the difference is Summon Airy does more damage than Grass Undying, yet Grass Undying gets a more sustain. Gangplank and Malphite, you need a sustain because you will just end up soaking up their Q damages and you're gonna have to get the sustain through your Grass Undying prop to them. And you can possibly go versus a Shen too, just because not just the Grass Undying usage, you'd use a Demolish to take the turn down fast while he's roaming with the level 6 ultimate, the Shen that is. Against a Shen, I would take a Bone Plate. Yeah, but against a Malphite Gangplank, second win. So that's how I choose the runes differently. And the next is an item. Item-wise, I tend to take a Doran's Ring as much as possible. But skill shot champion like Aatrox, Darius matches, I start with the boots. And if I feel like I'm going to get camped because they have an aggressive jungler, like Shaco, Pantheon, Shinzao jungle, while I'm facing like Riven, Araria stuff, I take with the Cloth Armor 4 potions. And the same thing against a magic damage dealer like Rumble, and I think I'm going to get camped, then I start with the double Reju Beads and 4 pot. If I don't feel like I'm going to get camped, then I start with the Doran's Ring instead. Yeah, it's really depending on an aggressive jungler that they have or a passive jungler that they have. Passive junglers are like Emumu, Shibena stuff. Yeah. And Kalsar is only against the Dr. Mundo. And boots wise, there's a 2 offensive boots that I take. Sorcerer Shoes for magic damage Teemo and Berserker's Greaves for on-hit damage Teemo. I'll talk about those 2 builds in a second. And the defensive boots are Mercury Treads, Plated Steel Cap, and Boots of Sinis. AP core items are Nature's Tooth, first item all the time. Luden's Tempest, if possible, as a second, and Banshee and Hourglass can be also second or even third or fourth. Honestly, it's not after the Nashor. It's all depending on the situation, for the order wise. Yeah. Optional items are, Moralnomicon, QSS is there, Gargoyle is there, Voice Staff, Banshee is already there. Yeah. Death Cap. So, where is this? Let me talk about this one. Yeah. So, Luden's Tempest versus Liandry Anguish. I mainly take these two as a mythic item. Press the attack is the only time that I take Riftmaker. Luden's Tempest is good versus squishy champions, and Liandry's Anguish is better versus a tanky champion. But Liandry Anguish is generally better after level 16 because it's your mushroom amplifier. Yeah. It would amplify the mushroom's damage. It would not amplify anything but the mushroom. So therefore, level 16, when Teemo can start placing a lot of traps, is when level 16 is. That's when I take the Liandry Anguish. Luden's Tempest wise, you can get it as early as possible after the Nashor Zeus. So now let me talk about the Oni Teemo build. Oni Teemo build is a good versus a tanky champion. Now I already said that Liandry Anguish is what the tank counter is, but that's only when you're going AP build. If you can possibly build an on-hit build, then on-hit build is a better versus a tanky champion than Liandry Anguish is, which is a Blade Rune King as a first item, Kraken second, and after that, that's all optional as an order-wise, or you can even put in other items like Witsend too. So currently, the most fitting one in current meta that I found is a Mortal Reminder for heal reducement, Gargoyle for tankiness, QSS, tanky QSS item, and Mortal Reminder for more damage to tankers. So this is a very conditional use. You need at least one solid AP dealer on your team to make this work. If you don't have any AP dealer and you're doing this build, then you're griefing. Yeah, it's not good. At least need like Syndra mid or Echo jungle, stuff like that, to make this build work, so that your team gets to have both the physical and magical damages. It's definitely better versus a tanker champion compared to Liandry Anguish. The reason is Liandry Anguish would counter the tanker after level 16, but if you go on hit build, then you can counter the tanker from the first item. So like starting from level 10, you already counter the tanker with the Blade Rune King, and the next item would melt the tanker better with the Kraken Slayer. Yeah. This build is way more focused on 1v1 matches, not really that great in teamfight. So you want to split if possible with this build, and while the AP build is better with the grouping. Yep. In current meta, it's better with the grouping, so I tend to go more with an AP build. So probably like a 1 or 2 out of 10 game, 1 game out of 10, I'd go on hit, and everything else I go with the AP. So that's how it looks like. Current meta, you only get to build about 3 items though, about 3 to 4 items. No, 2 to 3 items and the game ends. As you can see, my game timing, 28 minutes, 55 seconds, 18 minutes, 28 minutes. It's all kind of short compared to what it used to be, 24 minutes average, I would say. Yeah. So about 3 items, then the game is over. So what you want to look for is that first initial 3 items is the most important, like the highest impactful items you want to get, and 4th and 5th items are not that important. Yeah. So yeah, I'm heading for a challenger right now, and so this is how I build on a Teemo as of February 11th, 2021. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you guys later. Bye.